Hello everyone and welcome back to Heartbaked. We are on episode 6 of the Carver route and chapter 7 of the whole thing. So, we're gonna get right back into this. We did choose the right answer last time and we are still down for the count. We are honestly about to lose. And last time when we got to this episode here was when we lost the whole game. And probably it's gonna be the same thing again, and I'm gonna be like, sorry guys, Mumby, and then have to replay it and, you know, give you all those little special things that when I change my answers. But anyway, for now, let's just hop right into chapter 7 and hope for the best. I didn't sleep so well. I sat up in my bed, rubbing my hands over my eyes and staring down at the sheets. All I could think about was apologizing. Should I have tried to find him yesterday? I mean, we always argued and sniped at each other, but that fight was different. The way he looked at me, No use dwelling on it, B. Nothing will happen at all if you just sit here moping. With that little pep talk, I threw the covers off, moving to get dressed. I wanted to find Carver before he opened for the day. I couldn't let him go another second thinking that I paused in my frantic efforts to get out of my sleep clothes, staring at myself in the mirror. Why was I so worried about this? Like I'd said, Carver and I always fought. Different or not, I've never bothered apologizing before. The recipe book on my dresser caught my eye. Ooh, they spelled caught with this O. Caught my eye and I shifted uneasily. Right. Can't make that cake if Carver hates me. Nodding a bit unsurely to myself, I finished dressing and hurried downstairs. I just had to stop thinking and go. I bolted through the kitchen, feeling like the faster I went, the harder it would be for my thoughts to catch up with me. Ugh! I slammed into Radley, not having noticed him standing in the way. I stumbled back, but he caught my arm, wrapping an arm around my waist to steady me. Bay. I was getting into his voice even before it started. Bay, you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry, There was just no right end to that sentence. He let me go, and I prepared to start running again before realizing what his presence meant. He was here already? How late had I slept? Where were you going? He looked around, obviously confused. You haven't started baking yet? I bit my lip, pressing a fist against my head and letting out a sigh. There was just no time. I could bake later. Right now I had to talk to Carver. I'm not opening the shop today. What? Why? I knew it must have been weird to him. I never closed the shop, and in the past week I'd been closing early nearly every day, but how was I supposed to explain it to Radley? I'd told him about Carver before, but now it seemed so much more... I didn't know, but I did know I couldn't tell him why I was so eager to get out. I'm sorry, Radley. I don't have time to talk. What? Bay! Oh, that was terrible, Bay. I ran out through the shop, bursting into the town square and making a beeline for Carver's. Beeline. I didn't even make it up to the door, though, before the large close sign hit me in the face. Might as well have been literally. My pace slowed to a crawl as I swallowed, rubbing at my arms. Okay, close today. I was sure that was because of some completely arbitrary reason that had nothing to do with me. I mean, how arrogant would I have to be to jump to the conclusion that he's out there somewhere too upset to work because of me. Well, if he's not here, then he's definitely at his house. Nodding, I clenched my hands into fists and headed off towards the forest. Maybe I'd get lucky and find him in that clearing like before. I swiveled in the direction of the forest, inhaling deeply and starting to walk. Oh shoot, why do I always forget Pointy's name? Is this just terrible of me? Oh, his voice. Oh, B. That's the sound of my name. I turned, frowning. Sorry, I blinked when I recognized the person who spoke as that pointy-nosed elf. I really should learn his name. But not now. No time. Sorry, sir. I don't have time to talk right now. The elf tilted his head. That's fine. I just wanted to say my daughter really enjoyed those cupcakes. I wish I was in a better frame of mind so I could actually enjoy that. I mumbled to myself and the elf blinked. I didn't say anything. Right. Wow. Pointy has no voice. He is voiceless. Jesus. Ugh.
Right. You know what? He's gonna be British. Right. Anyway, I'll end up taking Carver's recommendation. Sorry I didn't bother trying something from your shop before. I didn't hear the rest of his sentence, the sound of my internal shock blocking out everything else. Carver's recommendation? As in, he recommended? I never would have done that for him. Not in a million years. Maybe I had been taking our rivalry too seriously. A strange feeling crept over me, one I couldn't even name, and I shook my head, turning and bolting towards the forest. B? Come back, B. Also, whatever happened to that lady who stole my shoes? Although, I'm pretty sure, it wasn't an old lady. But whatever. I was panting by the time I reached Carver's house, and I took a second to calm myself down, pressing a hand against my stomach. Okay, it'll be fine. You'll apologize and Carver won't hate you anymore, and then... Stop thinking, start knocking. Repeating this mantra in my head, I knocked firmly on his door twice. Then again. And again. A few moments later, I realized I was banging on the hard surface with another force that the sound rang through the trees and there was no response. I groaned, taking a step back and running my hands through my bangs, tugging at them. Okay, assuming he's not just there and ignoring me. But what if he was? Carver? Are you there? Look, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean it. This was pointless. I stood in front of the door for another minute before I forced myself to turn away, swallowing thickly. What if he never talks to me again? What if I never get a chance to say... I didn't know how that sentence ended. My eyes started burning and I blinked hard, walking deeper into the woods. The sun filtered down through the cotton candy trees, lighting up a path that I followed without realizing. All I knew was I didn't want to go back to town just yet. I couldn't go back and open the shop like everything was okay. Logically, I knew that if I couldn't find Carver today, there was always tomorrow. Or the next day. But the sense of urgency wouldn't leave me alone. I hated imagining what Carver must be thinking, what he must assume I was thinking. Before I realized, the forest path was ending and I found myself on some kind of farm. Well, farm was probably a misleading word. There was a shack, a pen with 2 sheep. Oh, great. The last thing I wanted to deal with feeling like this was that guy, Benjamin. I barely looked at him twice, but Carver had been nice enough to give him a job. Maybe nice wasn't the word for it, but... I groaned, shaking my head and turning to hightail it out of there. But a flash of magenta caught my eye and I blinked, squinting. Laying next to one of the sheep, his head propped up on its furry body, was Carver. I felt relief fled me. I really thought that he was just holed up in his house ignoring me. But now, with him right there, I had no idea what to say. All the words I'd prepared slipped out of my mind, lost completely. Tentatively, I walked closer, holding my breath. I was pushing open the pen before the other pastry chef noticed my presence. He glared at me, sitting up and tucking his hair behind his ears. What do you want? What do I want? If only I could answer that question. We both said things we didn't mean. Act like everything's normal. So, sheep, huh? Okay, I always feel like socially inept when I get to answering these things, because I'm like, I don't know what the right answer is. What do? Act like everything's normal is definitely not the right answer. That's only gonna piss him off. So sheep, huh? But this is... But it's both of us. We both said things we didn't mean. I'm doing that one. We both said things we didn't mean. I steeled myself, thinking of all the things I'd wanted to say to him. Look, Carver, I just got carried away yesterday. He was still glaring at me and I swallowed, scratching nervously at my arm. I mean, we both kind of got carried away. I thought back to the argument, unable to help wincing. You didn't have to say I'm relying on dead relatives to keep my bakery open, or call me incompetent, imply that I make too many cupcakes. And if you're trying to apologize, you're horrible at it. I winced, letting out a sigh. I shifted awkwardly in place for a second before moving next to him, sitting down. Look, I'm sorry. I didn't know if he believed me or not.
Ah! Right-clicked on accident.
I didn't think I'd ever apologized to him before. He stared at me for a second and then faced forwards again, resting his elbows on his knees. I don't know why I always say stuff like that to you. It just sort of comes out. He let out a scoff.
Well, I suppose someone of your level of immaturity can't be expected to keep track of everything they say.
Now I remember. Despite myself, I can feel my own lips twitching up to the side at the sight of his smile. A flicker of hope lit up to my chest. I wanted to say something else, but nothing came to mind, and instead I shifted awkwardly, biting my lip. I looked over to the sheep, seeing it still laying down docile. I wondered if the sheep were just overly trusting, or if Carver came here often enough that they were used to him.
I'm sorry, too. I didn't mean to get so worked up.
My eyebrows shot up. I was surprised to hear his apology. I hoped he hadn't meant it, but I couldn't help but feel relieved. Then immediately after, guilty. I was the one who was trying to get close to him because of a recipe, after all. At this thought, my shoulders fell a bit. It was strange, though. I was actually sort of enjoying being around Carver. I never thought that would happen. I was distracted from this realization, though, by Carver's next words.
It just upsets me more than it usually would, because I was actually starting to.
He trailed off, and I felt my stomach flutter, waiting for him to continue.
Oh. Right, I have something else I should apologize for.
What? I couldn't help but be disappointed. I sort of wanted to know what he was going to.
I stole your shoes.
What?
I'm the one that stole your shoes.
It took me a second to even realize what he was talking about. It felt like that had happened such a long time ago. And then it took me another second to realize just what was strange about that statement. But an old woman stole my shoes. Suddenly, realization hit me. A very short, mannish-sounding, old... There was just no way. But from the sheepish look on his face, I knew that the ridiculous notion was apparently true. Carver!
I said sorry.
Why were you dressed like an old lady? He shifted, idly picking at the grass.
People are more willing to give discounts to the elderly.
So true, but still. Carver, come on. At least I'm not the only one. Bee's laughing too, okay? I laughed hard, tossing my head back far enough that my hat fell off. Carver glared at me, punching my arm.
Shut up. Just because I'm conscious about the costs it takes to run a bakery.
A second later, his chuckles joined mine. I laughed until tears streamed from my eyes, flopping back onto a rather disgruntled sheep. I didn't notice I was leaning against Carver until he leaned back against me. Oh wow, that just ends there? Oh, what happened? Did we go up in points at all? I don't know. It might have been a halvesy. You might have just went in half points up. It still wasn't enough though, guys. I don't know. We might barely make it if I can get the correct answer on this next one. Barely. Maybe we can. I don't know. But we're getting there. I'll probably have to replay, but I know that you guys will be there for me, even if I do replay it. And I bet you enjoy my pained sobs of discontent when I do lose. Anyway, so you guys know the drill. Have a great weekend, a good week, and good night.